Democrats just elected 3 very far left Democratic socialists in New York who are crazy, like outright really crazy. So, like, how are they going to blow it? I don't know, but they seem to be well on their way.
It doesn't make me forget that his wife loved October 7th attack on Israel and that he pals around with terrorists.
No, come on. Have you had him on the show?
We ask people like that, Ro, they never come.
Something Bill Maher said has people paying attention, and it goes straight to the growing influence Zohran Mamdani appears to have over younger voters. Maher argues that despite having unlimited access to information online, many young people aren't stopping to question the promises they're hearing. Instead, he believes they're embracing Mamdani's message without giving it much scrutiny. That's where Maher shifts from observation to direct criticism. Stick around, because his argument becomes far more pointed as the conversation unfolds, and we'd like to know where you stand once you've heard it all.
This is big news in this country. I don't know if you saw what happened in New York. There were 3 candidates for this. These are the primaries. They are going to win the election, so there are going to be 3 Democrats in Congress. These are Mamdani's people. These are Democratic socialists, I think very different than the Democratic Party. What happened is, for years we've been asking young people to vote. Well, now young people are voting, and they're voting to abolish the police, abolish prisons, unlimited immigration, so no cops, no prisons, no borders, proving for sure that eating Tide Pods does cause brain damage.
Maher doesn't soften his position. He argues that many younger Democrats have rallied behind Mamdani because of policies such as reducing police funding, supporting more open immigration policies, and advocating sweeping criminal justice reforms. According to Maher, those aren't just campaign slogans, they're ideas that could dramatically reshape a city if fully implemented. He asks viewers to imagine New York operating under that vision and consider what everyday life might actually look like. Who handles public safety? How do existing institutions adapt? Rather than treating the discussion as political theory, Maher frames it as a future that could become reality.
Seem to be having this debate whether or not Maher Mamdani is a socialist or a democratic socialist. Let me settle it. He's a straight-up communist. How do I know this? Well, I'm reading between the lines when one of his major advisors says, elect more communists. It's fine, it's a belief system. He's allowed to believe it and people are allowed to vote for it. But if liberals deny it, like he's just going through a goth phase.
Then Maher takes aim at another argument. He says he's heard repeatedly that Mamdani's political views are simply the idealism of youth and will naturally become more moderate over time. Maher rejects that explanation outright. He points to Mamdani's embrace of the social democrat label and argues that it represents a far more significant ideological position than many people acknowledge. In Maher's view, the philosophy carries long-term implications for government, the economy, and public institutions that deserve serious debate. From there, he broadens his criticism beyond Mamdani himself, challenging the Democratic Party to answer difficult questions about the direction it is heading.
Mamdani's a great one, huh?
I do. Did you see his Knicks speech? Anyone
not the issue that most concerned me. I don't
it's
need.
worth a watch because the speech was not just about the Knicks. First of all, he recites every Knicks player. I couldn't do that about the 49ers.
Who gives a shit about the Knicks? He's the mayor of New York.
Well, yeah, but he talks about how it's actually bringing people together. Trump voters, Mamdani voters, how it's overcoming the odds. And he took a speech that was just about celebrating a championship, and he made something bigger about it. He's a talented
Well, it
kid.
doesn't make me forget that his wife loved October 7th attack on Israel and that he pals around with terrorists.
No, come on. Have you had him on the show?
We ask people like that, Ro. They never come.
I'll talk to him. I think
I
he
would
should
love
come.
that. I think he should too.
That naturally leads to the matchup. Many political observers say they'd like to see a face-to-face debate between Bill Maher and Zohran Mamdani with no prepared scripts and no easy escape from tough questions. Their political philosophies sit on opposite ends of the spectrum, making the prospect of a direct exchange especially compelling. Maher has spent months criticizing Mamdani's platform, while Mamdani continues building support and promoting policies that opponents describe as firmly left-wing during his time as New York's mayor. If the two ever shared the same stage, it could become one of the most talked about political debates of the year. The question is simple: who do you think would leave the stronger impression?
Listen to this. There are thousands of people from countries we think of as prosperous and advanced who have come here and are now saying they can no longer go on in life if they can't get ranch dressing. One woman from Sweden said, "Why did no one tell me ranch sauce is like crack?" Because it's not. Your crack must suck.
So why is socialism resonating with the youth? Maher's answer: they've been raised to believe America is a lost cause. And he frames that belief as inherited. Not invented, passed down by party elders who've spent decades painting the country in the worst possible light. Naturally, that pushes young people to romanticize other nations, Europe especially, as automatically more just and more advanced. Then Maher flips the script entirely. International fans who flooded into the US for the Soccer World Cup can't stop praising the place, the warmth, the energy, how impressive it was up close. That's a direct hit against the narrative young Americans grew up hearing. No ideology sells itself faster than communism, critics say, particularly to people who feel like they've got nothing left to lose. The offer sounds unbeatable. Rent, food, transportation, education, all free, no strings attached. Sound familiar? It's basically the platform being floated in New York right now. At first glance, it looks like a rescue plan. What critics say gets buried is the aftermath. Once the initial rush fades, what's often left behind is scarcity, stalled growth, and the hard truth that none of it was ever actually free. This story, they claim, has played out before again and again, yet somehow each new generation insists on relearning it firsthand. That's supposedly why Maher keeps extending invitations to Mamdani. Curiously, it's Republicans like J.D. Vance who've said yes instead.
I'm just glad you're talking to me. I say it every time. When the Republicans come here, they take their beating like a man. It's the people I vote for. They're the ones who won't talk to me. That's odd, isn't it?
It is very odd.
I mean, and I
Well,
promise.
like this new woman who was elected in New York. Do you think she'll come on the show?
Oh, I know you want. No, I can't get AOC. I can't get Mamdani. I couldn't get Kamala Harris. It took me 8 years to get Obama. Anyway, let's not talk about my problems. And I promise this is going to be a lot easier than talking to the Iranian. Or even more, The View.
The question is whether it's harder than The View. That's right.
I'm just glad you're talking to me. I say it every time.
Mamdani and still nowhere near Maher's set, and critics think that absence says plenty. Their theory: Maher doesn't ask soft questions, and that's exactly what makes him worth avoiding. So why the constant rotation through friendly podcasts built for easy softballs while dodging a host who's put his own donations behind the party? To skeptics, that inconsistency raises red flags. They read the avoidance as an admission proof, in their eyes, that both know exactly the kind of scrutiny they'd face. Maher doesn't back off, doesn't accept vague dodges, and doesn't give allies a pass just because they share his politics.
Okay, so the three in New York City are Chevrolet, Valdez, and Lander. And they're all Mamdani guys. Mamdani's a communist, okay? And what they're doing is trying to seize all the assets of New York City and distributed those assets to the poor. That's what the game is. Okay, so when you see the numbers, they're fairly staggering. 44% of all of those working right now in New York City were born overseas. 44%. 38% of all New Yorkers were born overseas. So this is a migrant town, like London. London's fallen apart.
Bill O'Reilly has his own alarm to sound about New York, and he's not being subtle about it. Bit by bit, he argues, cracks are already forming under the socialist-style agenda Mamdani's pushed since day one in office. His read: Mamdani's redistribution strategy is shifting wealth toward lower-income residents at breakneck speed, a move that could easily be mistaken for compassion, even justice, on the surface. But O'Reilly zeroes in on a question he thinks everyone's avoiding. What happens the instant that pool of wealth dries up, with nothing built to refill it? That, he warns, is the real danger zone when the promises exceed what the city can actually fund, and the whole system starts buckling under its own weight. The warning lights, he insists, are already flashing.
But the Democratic Party is now the home of all the communists. It's not that the Communist Party runs on its own. It's attached to the Democratic Party. That will hurt the Democrats as more and more American citizens figure this out. They haven't figured it out yet because the media covers for this. My monologue tonight would never be heard on any of the networks or CNN. I don't even think Fox would run it.
Here's the case being made, and it doesn't pull punches. The moment enough Americans fully understand what communism costs, the Democratic Party could face a political disaster. This wouldn't be a minor setback. It's framed as the kind of reckoning capable of redrawing the electoral map for a generation. Even voters who've never left the party could bolt the instant they realize their savings. Their freedoms, their futures are the stakes on the table. Sound like DJ Vu? Supporters of this theory point to the backlash the party already ate over perceived overreach elsewhere, that same disconnect from everyday life. If history rhymes here too, the reaction against socialism and communism could land even harder in the voting booth. Maher and O'Reilly's shared conclusion: socialist promises dazzle up front, but the seams always split eventually, and they're pointing to New York as the live experiment. So what's your read on Maher's takedown of Mamdani's New York agenda? Sound off below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more political breakdowns like this one. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one.